How about them Cowboys? How about Brett Favre? Jeff Rubenthal, he'll love that one. He says he's not going to be rooting for Favre this week. I don't think he was rooting for Favre last week. Yeah, what's interesting, Mike, is there were a lot of Eagles fans that actually were rooting for the Cowboys against the Vikings because of their dislike for Brett Favre.
Wow.
I don't think if you're an Eagles fan, you can do that. Dan Massey, he said he was one of those guys. I'm name dropping here. What did we learn from this game when Minnesota beats the Cowboys as they did?
Well, I was very surprised, particularly with the fact that the Vikings were able to win the battle of the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. I really thought the last month or so Dallas was really impressive. Really didn't show me a weakness, but particularly on the interior, on the line, in the trenches, in the line of scrimmage, and it does to some extent tell you a little something about the Eagles. That the Eagles were so beat up and pushed around, especially their defense against Dallas's offensive front, and you saw the crucial importance of having a good defensive line, because the Vikings have an excellent front four, and that was really the big thing that really surprised me about that game.
You know, it's interesting. Ray Edwards, the guy who I didn't know about in the Minnesota's front four, is actually a restricted free agent. The Eagles could go after him. They could use one more guy. Trent Cole did a fantastic job. Their defensive tackles are pretty good. They need somebody on the other side. But you and I were talking before. One of the other problems the Eagles have, as we relate this more to our home team, is the cornerbacks. And I think a good front four will take the pressure off the cornerbacks.
Yeah, I think the Vikings have average cornerbacks. You remember when the Eagles, they famously played this blitzing, very aggressive style, and when they had Troy Vincent and Bobby Taylor, the thing was, well, we have these corners who can handle man coverage, so we can do what we have to do to get to the quarterback. The Vikings have, I think, pretty average cornerbacks, but they don't have to do anything. They don't have to do anything fancy in order to win the line of scrimmage and get at the quarterback, because their front four is so good. Sometimes it's just that simple. And I think another thing we want to say here is the Dallas Cowboys. I think this football team. I don't mind this football team, the Dallas Cowboys football team. As an organization, as a sort of cultural institution, I think we can all agree the Dallas Cowboys are repulsive. I mean, they're bad for America. But this football team, I thought, made a little progress this year, and it was a little bit, I thought, harder to hate them than it often has been in the past.
Then they show Jerry Jones and the hate comes back.
Well, there you go. That's what I mean by the organization.
We talk about these cornerbacks, and I wonder in the next matchup now, Minnesota's defense versus the Saints' defense. Offenses are both pretty good. Who's going to have the advantage with the defenses here? Is Favre going to be able to expose Saints defense and the cornerbacks, or will it be vice versa? And Drew Brees, who's having a phenomenal year, very close to what Peyton Manning's doing for the Colts. Whose defense is going to get more exposed in this game?
Well, I think it's a tough call, but I think the Saints are a little bit better on the back end, as they say. I think they have a little bit better chance of causing problems for Favre than the other way around, and that's why I like the Saints in this game.
How much do you think the Saints, and I'm also going to throw the Colts in here, are underrated as far as defensive teams?
Oh, I don't think there's any question about it. I think when you're talking about, we sort of when we looked at the field with like 8 teams left, we talked about the sort of defense and ground game teams against the quarterback-oriented teams. Well, the Saints and the Colts are both quarterback-oriented teams who can also play pretty good D.
I think it's underrated because their offenses are so good you forget about the defense sometimes.
No question.
Brett Favre played great.
He did. He really did.
So did Drew Brees on Saturday. I was working Saturday and didn't get to see a lot of it, but these are two really good quarterbacks going at it, and if their offensive lines give them time, this could be a really fun game to watch.
Should be a terrific game. I'm looking forward to it.